how are you not
Yeah.
already, like
Yeah.
getting promoted to the next level? But yeah, it was kind of tough at first, but I was
Yeah.
able to kind of just figure it out.
And were you like managing like multiple teams or just one team or one project, did you say?
Yeah, so the way my projects or programs work is so mergers and acquisitions integration essentially is when a company acquires another entity, my team comes in to do like a post acquisition integration, right? So how do we integrate this company into this new, or how do we integrate their operations and their business into the existing business, right?
Yes.
So that entails working with legal, with sales, with finance. So there's multiple mini projects going on just
Yeah.
to make sure that the full integration is completed
Yeah.
from an operations perspective, because operations is one piece. There is like HR integration, which is a completely different piece. There's finance integration is different. So my team oversees the operations integration,
Yeah.
and even within that there's different projects. So that's kind of what I do.
Nice. Hey, what up, fam? This is Sarlebi, host of Africans in Tech, where we're building bridges and shaping futures in tech. On our pod today, we got Jennifer. How do I say your last name, Jay?
Aikoroje.
Aikoroje.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or Aikoroje. That's the the actual way. The Nigerian way is Aikoroje.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you, Jay. We met on Instagram,
Yeah.
and I think I DM'd you, and I was like, "Hey, you want to be on the pod?"
Yeah.
And I was it like a couple months ago, or is it?
Yeah, it was back in April, I think. Yeah.
Okay. And then when we talked, you had a really interesting story because you weren't like always in tech. You kind of pivoted,
Yes.
and then you used sort of like a background,
Yeah.
in accounting and stuff to kind of pivot. So that's dope.
Yeah.
I'm really interested to hear your story today.
Sure. Yeah. I'm happy to share.
Okay. So Jay, what we usually do is just have people introduce themselves, nothing technical, just who you are, background, and all that jazz. And we'll go
Okay.
from there.
All right. Well, my name is Jennifer. I am a CPA and a Nigerian, and also a Canadian. I guess I'm a Nigerian Canadian. I currently work at one of the big tech companies in mergers and acquisitions. So I'm a program manager, and I work on post-merger integration and divestiture separations. And on the side, I'm also very passionate about personal finance. So I've been recently blogging and doing videos as well about investing in the stock market and really just breaking down some key investing terms, just to take out all the jargon and just make it easier for people to understand. So that's me.
That's dope. So accounting, was that
Yeah.
always like a passion of yours?
No, no, accounting wasn't a passion. But interestingly, so the reason I actually studied, I first got into school in economics rather.
Gotcha.
So that was my bachelor's, and I think it was after my first year, I was thinking about internships,
Gotcha.
and I was looking and I couldn't find anything. Like there was no economics like intern jobs or whatever, right?
Gotcha.
So I was just like, okay, what kind of roles do economists have like after
And where's
school?
this at? Was this in
In Canada?
in Canada?
Yes.
Okay.
So I went to school in Canada.
Okay.
High school and all the way through
Gotcha.
university.
Okay.
And so yeah, so I was like, what do economists do after school? And I found that you actually have to go all the way to PhD to be taken seriously.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, I don't think I want that. And at the time, I had discovered accounting. So through high school, I actually did science. I never touched any business courses, but then I
Gotcha.
took accounting, and I was like, oh, this actually comes naturally to me.
Okay.
Somehow, I actually really liked it. I like numbers.
Nice.
And then I did the search, and I saw that accountants can work at any industry, regardless of how the economy is doing. You're always going to need accountants.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, I'm going to pick the course that's going to make sure that I always have a job, right? And that's why I picked accounting. And it also helped that it kind of came naturally to me as well. So it
Nice.
just felt like a natural fit.
Nice. And you're Nigerian, right?
I'm Nigerian, yeah.
Okay. Did you grow up at all in Nigeria?
Yeah, so my family immigrated to Canada when I was 13. So I
Okay.
spent the first 13 years of my life in Nigeria.
Nice. How was that?
It was good.
Okay.
I loved growing up in Nigeria. We're kind of sheltered. Like my parents kind of, I guess, shielded us from the realities. I should say me, because I have two older brothers. I don't know what their experience is like, but I know for me, like
Yeah.
life was breeze. I actually, for the longest time, wanted to move back to
Okay.
Nigeria
Wow.
because,
Okay.
because I mean, at my age, it's like one minute you're just having fun with your friends, the next
Yeah.
minute your parents are like, all right, we're moving to Canada.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you land in this like really cold place, and then you have to start high school again. And,
Yeah.
it was really tough to kind of reintegrate into like this new society. But yeah, I love my time in Nigeria, and definitely I see myself moving back, actually. That's how much I liked
Nice.
it.
I love that. I mean, I love that. Anybody says they want to go back, I love that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because there's opportunities there, and
Definitely.
it just feels,
Yeah.
I guess I can say that from a place of privilege, obviously, because
Yeah.
there are people who want to leave because they
Yeah.
they need to, right?
Right.
Not just a want, but yeah,
Definitely.
I recognize that privilege.
Definitely. And what did your parents do?
So my dad worked in oil and gas,
Okay.
and my mom was a stay-at-home mom, but she had like some businesses, so she actually runs a day home.
Gotcha.
But my dad spent most of his like 30 years in one of the big oil and gas companies.
Okay.
So
Okay. And this was back in Nigeria?
back in Nigeria, and then
Oh,
when
okay.
he came here, he continued as well in oil and gas for like 10 years, and then he retired.
Nice. Okay. So is your mom also just kind of chilling, or she's still doing the
She's still doing her daycare.
daycare stuff?
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
it's now kind of morphing into like a family business type
Okay.
thing.
Okay.
'Cause,
Are you the accountant?
well, yeah, I've been filing my parents' taxes since like even
Yeah.
before I graduated.
Yeah.
They're like, we're gonna get our money's worth out of you. So
Nice.
yeah.
Nice. Okay, that's
Yeah.
awesome. I mean, you save them some money. That's for
Exactly.
sure.
Yeah.
Okay. And then are your parents in Canada, or did they move back?
Yes, they're still in Canada.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are they thinking about relocating?
It comes up once in a while, but I think the reality of it's one thing, like, yeah, most people at that age would want to go back, but I think when they think about what that would look like in reality, I think they're not quite sold yet.
Yeah.
Because as much as Nigeria is amazing, there's still major things like healthcare, and I think
Infrastructure
at that
changes, yeah.
age, like
Yeah.
they care about things like that. So
Definitely.
I think, yeah, it's still something they're thinking about, but I don't think it's gonna happen really anytime soon.
Gotcha. Do they visit often?
Yeah, they do. I think maybe every other year.
Okay.
I also I try to visit every other year as well. I was just there in December.
Okay.
I might be going again this year. So.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
we try to go there pretty often.
That's cool. Yeah, I see on your Instagram you're a traveler too. Like you.
I am, yeah.
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope.
Yeah,
Okay.
I did. So the reason that actually started was COVID happened.
Okay.
I was, in Canada.
Hold on. COVID? So you were traveling during COVID?
No, no. I'm saying the reason I started traveling was because of COVID.
Oh, the lockdown.
Right?
Oh,
Yeah, because it's like,
yeah.
okay, my traveling actually started when I moved to the UK.
Gotcha. Okay.
I was in the UK for a year, and I started to just travel because it's really easy to travel within Europe.
Gotcha.
So on weekends I was traveling.
Okay.
And the reason I did that was, like I said, COVID happened, and it really just kind of like hit you that, oh my gosh, these things that we take for granted can actually stop, right? Because people weren't able to travel. And I guess as things started to kind of lighten up a little bit, I'm like, all right, I'd always wanted to live in the UK, at least just
Gotcha.
experience it. So I'm like, you know what, I'm going to do it and just try. And
Okay.
yeah, it was a good experience.
How long did you stay in UK for?
For a year.
Okay. I might be probably grasping at straws here. You had an accent. I just wasn't sure what it was. But it's like you have an accent. I don't know.
I have an accent?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just me. It's not UK-ish because like UK is it's like a lot more stronger.
Right.
But I don't know. It seemed like it was something else.
It's a cocktail of Nigeria accent and Canadian. I think that's
Yeah, that
what
might
it
be
is.
it. That might be mixed. I was like,
It's like a mix.
yeah. I was like,
And it's so funny because
Yeah.
I saw this thing, someone posted that, no one talks about the identity crisis you get immigrating as an adult.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
I'm like, I think it's actually worse coming at the age that I came in, because I came in at 13. I did high school, grade 10 to 12 here. And it's like 13 is old enough to still have your Nigerian-ness or like your African-ness.
Yep.
But then it's also young enough to get assimilated as well, because you're
Definitely.
still kind of a sponge, right? So I find myself kind of just like bouncing between both.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to But whatever accent you're hearing, it's probably just that marrying of the
Yeah.
Canadian and the
I couldn't
Nigerian.
quite pinpoint him. I was like, okay, I'm gonna figure it out. That's what I'll do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the age, because I came in when I was 8, and
Okay.
I think they said after like 10, um, you permanently like you keep your accent. So wherever you're from, you keep
Mm-hmm.
that. So I
Mm-hmm.
came in when I was 8. So a lot of times when I talk, I'm like, I'm from Africa. I'm like, no, you're not. I'm like, no, I'm literally from Sierra
Yeah.
Leone.
You
But
have to show your card, like,
yeah,
hey,
exactly. Like, here's my card.
here's
This
my
is proof.
card. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Canada, what did you, I guess, do initially once you got there? Was it like a hard transition? Like I know you went to school and all that jazz,
Mm-hmm.
but was it like a hard transition from
From Nigeria.
Nigeria? Yeah.
Um, I wouldn't say it was a hard, because I think again at that age, as kids, it's really easy to just like make a
Friends.
friend,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the only thing was, so we landed in a very very small town in Canada
Okay.
called Fort St. John. It's like way up north.
Okay.
There were only about 16,000 people there. It was considered a village, just
Okay.
like what the town, I guess, category was.
Why? Like why that town?
Yeah, so because my parents knew someone who lived there, and
Ah.
it was just like a natural, all right, we're gonna just move to where we already know people. And there
Gotcha.
was
Gotcha.
actually a lady who brings students from Nigeria to Canada, so they do
Okay.
high school there, and then from there they go to university.
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha.
they just felt like it made more sense to
Yeah.
kind of be in that same space.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was my family and that lady, so we're the only two black people.
Yeah.
And so I think the first 2 years of moving, like my high school years, I was like complete emo. So I went the white side. I almost lost myself, I would say. My brother
Yeah.
actually always teases me because he remembers like 14, 15-year-old me with like my dark, I was listening to,
Like the dark face.
yeah, exactly. I was listening to Headley,
Yeah. Yeah.
those kind of songs. And then
Yeah.
when I got to grade 12, which is the year that she brings those students in, I was able to then make more friends with the Nigerian kids.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
And I was just like, yeah, almost immediately. I'm like, yeah, I started to listen to Afrobeats again. And
Okay. Okay.
I just regained myself.
Nice. Nice.
Like I was almost losing it, and then I got it back. But yeah,
Okay.
but it wasn't so hard. It was, I think at that age, they just, you go to school,
Yep.
and learning was a little bit, wasn't as hard because again, just pick things up.
Gotcha.
It was just maybe the style of teaching that was a little different.
Gotcha.
But other than that, it wasn't too difficult.
Okay. Is the university structure the same with U.S., Canada, Canadian?
I'm not sure because
We got a 2 and 4 year here. Is it the same thing like for like a bachelor's? Is it
Oh
4
yeah,
years?
yeah,
Okay.
it's the same
Okay.
thing. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
As far as same thing. 4 years. I don't know about. I guess 2 years would be like maybe the polytechnics.
Associates, yeah. Okay,
in
okay.
Nigeria. But yeah, 4 years as well in Nigeria.
Okay. And what'd you enroll in, like for your degree, your initial degree?
I did. So initially, I was in Bachelor of Arts in Economics.
Okay.
And then I did that for a year, and then switched to Bachelor of Commerce in
Okay.
Accounting. So it's like a bachelor. Well, it's a business. You either call it Bachelor of Commerce. Some schools call it Bachelor of Business Administration, but I got a Bachelor of Commerce with a major in accounting.
Okay. Okay. Did your parents push you towards like accounting specifically, or you kind of gravitated?
I just chose it.
Okay.
I chose it because of the money, because I could get a job in
Gotcha.
it.
Gotcha.
My parents are not as like pushy as typical Nigerian parents.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
kind of just let you do your thing. But
That's
of
good.
course, they guide you. If I told them there was a time that I wanted to go back to Nigeria to be a Nollywood actress.
Oh, okay.
This is like in my,
Yeah.
second year of school. I discovered Nigerian movies on YouTube, and I would just spend all day.
Genevieve.
Yeah, exactly. I was just watching, and I'm like, I want to do this. So
Yeah.
if I had said I wanted to, leave university,
It's a good.
they probably would have been like, "Yo, what are you talking about?"
That's what's his girl?
Exactly. What's this?
Yeah.
But typically they're kind of just like,
Okay.
they'll guide you, but they won't really push you too much. But yeah, so for accounting, I honestly just chose it because
Gotcha.
it was the easiest degree based on what I like to do that I would be able to get a job like straight out of university.
Gotcha. And you said you have siblings, right?
Yes, I have
Okay.
2 older brothers.
Okay. What do they do?
The oldest is a banker, so
Okay.
he's like he was one of the youngest general managers at this
Oh, okay.
bank.
Okay.
Now he's a director at one of the big banks in Canada, and the second one is a software developer.
Okay. Okay, so but they're both older.
Yeah, they're both older.
Okay. Okay. Did you get influenced at all by like your older brother that was the accounting guy or the
I might
banker?
have been. I
Okay.
might have been because funny enough, he actually got me into UFC because he was living in Calgary at the time.
Okay.
And I kind of wasn't really sure. I wanted to go all the way to Ontario. Ontario is really far from Calgary and from Canada.
Gotcha.
Oh,
Gotcha.
sorry, from Calgary. And my dad is like, nope, you're only 17. I'm not gonna let you go that far. And so we're kind
Yeah.
of just like figuring out, okay, where would she go for school and stuff. So my brother was actually the one who said, oh, why don't she, why she can actually just come to UFC.
Gotcha.
So he went and got all the applications and everything, all the documentation that I needed, and then
Okay.
I applied and I got in.
Gotcha.
So, but then I think, of course, having an older sibling, and just watching him, there might have been some influence.
Gotcha.
Funny enough,
Yeah.
this thing that I do right now, the name Inside Your Finance, I stole it from him because
Okay.
he he started, as a
Yeah.
banker, right? He started to like just tweet about, personal finance issues and stuff. And I was like, I started to do the same because I discovered, I guess I started to apply it to myself as well. And I'm like, hey, let me start to talk more about it.
Yeah.
And I couldn't think of a name. Like I was cracking my brain. And then I thought of a bright idea. I'm like, hey, why don't we do this together?
Yeah.
And so, we started blogging together actually. But I think life happened. He got busy and I just kept the name. So
Gotcha.
I think there's definitely a big influence in like, just having an older sibling. But
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it was necessarily that he kind of influenced directly
Yeah.
to study accounting. But yeah, I'm sure there was some influence there.
Yeah, just proximity. Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's why I asked like a lot of familiar questions because a lot of times people like subconsciously do things
Exactly.
because influence is outside.
Yeah, yeah. I
so-
know because my first job out of school was in oil and gas.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was my dad. I'm pretty sure that
Yeah.
that one, I don't doubt that.
Yeah.
But then also I was in Calgary is the oil and gas capital of Canada.
Oh, okay.
That's where a lot of the oil and gas
Gotcha.
headquarters are. So maybe it could have been that. I don't know. But
Okay.
either way, it kind of just, I think I've had influences from different people in my family for
Gotcha.
sure.
A side note, have you heard of Thunder Bay? Thunder
Where?
Bay.
Oh, in Ontario?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my aunt lived there. So
Okay.
yeah, I used to drive up there. That was
From where?
Maryland.
How far is that?
About like 16, 17 hours.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I'm a driver. I like driving. So,
okay.
but, and I like scenery and all that jazz. So,
Oh, okay.
as we were driving, I was like, noticing like the different like structures and all that other jazz.
Yeah.
So I didn't really mind it, but I just remember when you said like Calgary,
Yeah.
because I'm thinking like Winnipeg, because my
Oh,
brother, well, he's African brother.
Right.
We're not related.
Yeah.
He's doing not oil and gas. What does Jeff do? He does like production and stuff like that. So
Okay.
he's in Winnipeg. So as soon as you mentioned Calgary, I was like, oh, Winnipeg, and then I was like, oh yeah, I used to go to Thunder Bay.
yeah.
So
Winnipeg. Oh my gosh. Winnipeg is. I don't know how people live there. It's so cold.
Yeah.
I mean, Calgary is also cold, but Winnipeg is just next level. But yeah, I think, special
Yeah.
people.
No, I asked him, I'm like, bro, like you're still union, right? Like, how do you deal with this temperature?
Exactly.
But I guess they get paid a lot too because not a lot of people.
Exactly.
in that
Yeah.
space, so,
yeah.
yeah.
But surprisingly, there's also a pretty large Nigerian community in Winnipeg as
Oh
well.
wow,
Yeah, Nigerians are
everywhere now.
everywhere. Just put on your jacket and your boots and you're fine with the cold. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So you did you said economics in undergrad. Did you finish your master's?
No, so I
Okay.
did my CPA.
Your CPA?
Right after undergrad.
Okay.
CPAs. So the Canadian one is chartered professional accountant. I know here in the US it's certified
Yeah.
public accountant.
Okay.
But Canada it's chartered professional accountant, and
Okay.
it was like a 2-year program where you have to work while you're doing it because you need the 2-year work experience as well.
Gotcha.
Then you're writing exams and passing things just to get the designation. Yeah, so I
Gotcha.
did that.
Okay.
It was kind of like I think after I wrote the exam, so the final exam was like a 3-day exam, and
Okay.
after that, I'm like, I'm not doing any school again because I was gonna do my MBA and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
I'm like, nah, I'm done. I'm not
So are you like done?
I think so. Every now and then I think about it, like maybe I should go do an MBA. But then I don't know how beneficial it would be.
Okay.
I still I'm still open to learning and, finding other things, but I feel like I'd rather maybe do like a course that's directly related to what I want to do next.
Gotcha.
Versus do an MBA that's, a little bit too broad. I don't know, but I
Okay.
might, but
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So while you're doing like I guess your undergrad, and did you do your CPA immediately after?
Yeah.
Okay. Where did UK come from?
Yeah, so the UK, after this was like long after I finished my CPA, finished
Gotcha.
undergrad. I'd been working in oil and gas, like I mentioned, and I quickly realized it wasn't for me because it just felt I was doing accounting, right? So it just felt a bit too mundane
Yeah, yeah.
and repetitive. And I'm like, okay, I want to try something else. I wasn't sure. I actually that was when I started applying to tech because
Okay.
at the time in Calgary, I had a lot of friends who had their own startups and
Yep.
stuff. And so we were always talking about, tech startups and tech companies and whatnot. And so I'm like, oh, I'd like to work at a tech company, maybe so I can learn, so I can, go start my own thing.
Mm-hmm.
Which, side note, you can't learn. I don't think you can learn from a big tech company, right? I think
Yeah.
it's better to start like a startup if you wanted to do your own thing. But anyways, so that's when I started thinking about tech. And so I was applying. I applied to Amazon, to Google. I got nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I spoke to a friend who had transitioned from accounting to a tech company. I was like, what did you do? And he essentially said, the truth is, he didn't think anyone was going to hire me with just an oil and gas experience, right? Because they
Gotcha.
needed to see that something was transferable.
Yeah.
And so I left oil and gas and moved to a big four accounting firm, so PwC,
Okay.
because it just seemed like a better, more general experience that could apply to any industry.
Gotcha.
So I was doing that. I did that for 2 years. And, even if people weren't, because first of all, I took a pay cut to move to PwC because those accounting firms don't really pay that well. And then they work you to the bone.
Yep.
And I was like, no, I'm doing it because, it's going to be a stepping stone into my next level. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to make the sacrifice. But sure enough, I was burnt out. After two and a half years, I was like, I just can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
And this was after COVID, 2021. I just quit. I was like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
And then I'd been thinking about moving to the UK as well at the time. And I was like, I'll just bite the bullet, apply for my visa, and just move. So that's where the UK came in. I think I was just tired of everything.
Gotcha.
I was like, I just want to try something else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And how'd you like UK?
I loved it. I was working at The Economist, actually. I was doing accounting for them.
Okay.
But it was a contract role, so I would work like Monday to Thursday and then travel Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
I went to Switzerland on £30. Yeah, £30 flight.
That's crazy.
Yes. So I was like, yeah, it was the best time because
Yeah.
I was able to travel. I did about I could have done more, but I was pacing myself. But yeah, I traveled basically every other weekend around Europe. So
Swiss is expensive though, isn't it?
it was very expensive. So getting there was cheap, but
What's your-
but yeah, it's a very expensive city for sure. Like transportation, hotels and all that stuff. But it's beautiful and it was definitely worth it.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool. And then the transition to tech, like how did that come about?
Yeah, so in between leaving the accounting firm I was at and going to the UK, because I knew that I was done with the firm, I was like, all right, I'm going to apply to both. I'm going to start applying to the tech jobs, right?
Gotcha. And when you say that, what do you mean by that, applying to tech? Because are you applying as a software developer?
No, I was applying as an accountant. I was just strictly applying as an accountant because, like I said, every industry needs accountants.
Right. Yeah.
And so that's all I was applying. Basically every day I was applying, and then I got an interview. And I was like, all right, I guess this is it. Because at the time, I'm like, it's either I get this job in, this tech company or I go to the UK.
Right.
And so I was trying both out. And I got this interview. I was like, all right, maybe this is a sign that I'm going to stay. But I didn't get it. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to go to the UK. And thankfully, I got the job in the UK. And I moved. But even after I moved, I kept applying because I always knew that the UK was just a short-term thing, just to travel and explore. So I was literally applying every day at the same company, every day, every time I saw a
Wow.
new role, I would
Nice.
apply. And the
Nice.
good thing was because I was only applying for accounting roles, I didn't really need to update my resume much.
Yeah.
It was just kind of the same
Yep.
thing, right? Um, and it was just like clockwork. And because I was doing this while I was enjoying my life, when I got all the, because almost every day I would get sorry when I
Yeah.
interested or unfortunately, and I
Yeah.
didn't care because it's
Yeah.
like I'm doing my thing, I'm living
Right.
my life, and if I get this job, good. If I don't,
Right.
okay. But literally every day, every time I saw a new thing, I would apply to it.
Did you have like an alert set up for like
I
the
did,
company? Okay.
yeah, I
Okay.
did. And
Okay.
then, but then I also had a routine where I'll always just check the website as well, like wake up in the morning.
Okay.
And, the thing is, like, it's really good because your resume is already on there. You don't need to do any extra steps, just like log in and see a new role, hit apply. And that's basically what I was doing
Gotcha.
repeatedly. And then I got 2 interviews doing that after applying to like hundreds of jobs. Like, it was like
Yeah.
one interview per like
Let's give her a
200
shot.
jobs, right? And I didn't get it. So I didn't get any of the jobs I interviewed for up until I think December of 2021. And I was like, you know what, I'm done. I guess maybe this is a sign that I shouldn't do this.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I was like, fine, I'll just, stay in the UK for the extra year and then do something else. And then the January came and I got this email from, actually, before that, the last interview I did, I was so sure that I got the job because, we had, when you have that
Yep.
like good
Yeah,
rapport with the
yeah.
interviewer, I was like,
I just
yeah,
killed it.
yeah, like I definitely killed it.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
everyone, and it's obviously it's like 3 different rounds of interviews. I got all the way to the last round and I met with they call them like the bar raiser, right?
Okay.
So it was like the skip of the skip, so like more like a VP GM level
Okay.
interviewer.
Gotcha.
I was like, yeah, this was great, like, and I didn't get it. And so I actually found 2 of the interviewers on LinkedIn and I'm like, hey, I just want to know for my own, like,
Yeah.
future, like how I
What's
can,
going
yeah, like how can I interview better?
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
can you advise me on why I didn't get this job? And only one of them responded and said that honestly, the reason why was because the person they went with just had a more applicable experience or more
Gotcha.
directly applicable experience than I did. I was like, okay, cool. And he's like, yeah, you interviewed really well. Just keep trying. I'm sure you get something.
Yeah.
I was like, all right. And that was it. I was just like, yeah, I'm done. And then January came and then I got this email from the person who hired me and said, hey, I got your resume from a peer. And I think it was probably one of those guys, one of the interviewers.
Nice.
And then he essentially was kind of selling the role to me because it wasn't accounting. It was, this program management role
Yeah.
that I'm doing right now. And he's like, hey, I know you're a CPA. I know you're looking for finance roles,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
have you heard of this? Are you interested? And that's how I got it.
That's
Well,
awesome.
of course, I had to do the interview still, but that
Yeah.
was kind of.
How was the interview?
It was pretty good. I mean, it was kind of similar to the previous one I did, right?
Okay.
3 different rounds, all the way to the GM level, and again, good rapport with all the people that I met. And I was like, all right, I think I was like at that point, I'm like, yeah, I think this has to be it because
Yeah.
if you're essentially selling the role to me, then come
Yeah.
on. Yeah.
So I guess so you're initially you're interviewing for accounting roles, but then you now are interviewing for a program management role. Was there like anything else that you studied in between, or just kind of like, all right, I was gonna do me?
Yeah, so I definitely studied because I didn't have any direct project management skills, but then working in accounting firms, you're kind of managing projects, even if it's not clearly stated.
Right.
So I was able to kind of just think about my previous roles and think about how I could apply it to this program management world, right? So
Gotcha.
I didn't really take any like certifications or courses or anything, but I think I was just able to like pull on my previous experience and figure out a way to make it, which because the skills are there, it's just not as directly stated as like a typical program management role.
Gotcha. Okay. And then, all right. So now you're in a project management. You got the job.
Yeah.
What happened? Were you like, yay, I got the job? Or like,
I
how was that?
was like, yeah, I was excited I got the job, but then I was also sad because I was leaving the UK.
Yeah.
Because I really loved living in London. and I kind of asked if I could stay at least for like the remainder of my 2 years, and he's like, yeah, no, it's not gonna happen. And and then I had to move to Seattle for the job.
Okay.
But then when I first started, like imposter syndrome set in like immediately because again, I'm really I was really comfortable at the time with accounting. Like accounting is like clockwork. Right. I can do like monthly reporting, external reporting, whatever it is.
Right.
But then this was like a whole new space, a whole new industry because I was doing mostly oil and gas. I did like a little bit of media in the UK with The Economist, but I was basically way out of my comfort zone. And so I think the first year it was really tough. I doubted myself a lot. I was kind of just trying to, and of course they just throw you in because they're not going to be like, I mean, my team was kind of still really great. I'm grateful for the kind of team that I have. Very supportive. But at the same time, like you have your own personal expectations of yourself, right? And so I had to really try to basically tell myself to go easier on myself because I was like, how do you not know this? How are you not already, getting promoted to the next level? But it was kind of tough at first, but I was able to kind of just figure it out.
And were you like managing like multiple teams or just one team or one project, did you say?
Yeah. So the way my projects or programs work is, so mergers and acquisitions integration essentially is when a company acquires another entity, my team comes in to do like a post acquisition integration, right? So how do we integrate this company into this new, or how do we integrate their operations and their business into the existing business, right? So that entails working with legal, with sales, with finance. So there's multiple mini projects going on just to make sure that the full integration is completed from an operations perspective, because operations is one piece. There is like HR integration, which is a completely different piece. There's finance integration is different. So my team oversees the operations integration. And even within that, there's different projects. So that's kind of what I do.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The first time I worked with M&A, I think was with Dell. I was on a contract back then. And that's the first time I'm like, we got to do what? They're like, yeah, we got to integrate. They have completely different tool sets.
Yeah.
And, other like processes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Whether it's like the CRM tools that they use and all the other jazz that you got to integrate and figure out like how things are supposed to work. So, I think a lot of times people don't think about that when they say so-and-so company bought XYZ.
Exactly.
How does that work together now?
Yeah. Although because there are different types of acquisitions, like as you know, right? There's some that are honestly just going to stay that way, like Microsoft and LinkedIn. LinkedIn is still its own separate entity. But I think for the most part, it's like business integration where you actually you want to be selling this new company's product as your own. And so the end goal is you're going to get an invoice and you're going to see, the Microsoft or whatever. But then there's so much that goes in on the background that I think a lot of people don't realize. Yeah, no,
that's good. So how did that hit you, like having to like learn like that process?
It was hard, and even till now, like I'm still learning because on the flip side, there's also divestiture separation. Okay, right.
What is that?
So divestiture is when a company is selling a business unit, right? So kind of basically opposite of an acquisition. Okay. So a business unit is not doing as well, or maybe you're moving in a different direction. You sell it off. Okay. But that also entails almost the same thing as integrating, because you have to separate the contracts. You can't just tell customers, hey, we're not, we don't have this business anymore. You have to, especially for commercial businesses, right? Like you have to make sure that in their commercial agreement, you actually even have a right to because some agreements, like you don't actually have a right to reassign this contract, like regardless of if you've sold it to a different company. So that's also what I do. And that's new as well. So even if the acquisition piece I'm still learning that, but now we have this divestiture piece that, is new to everyone as well. So it's really, one of the things I love about working where I work is that people are very collaborative and, very supportive as well, right? So you can always ask questions. You can always, you're kind of empowered to, push the limits and try to figure things out. Right. There isn't as much
like hand holding.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. So but it's still a learning curve. But but
yeah, that's good. I'm even thinking now when you talk about divestitures, like where you get these emails like so and so company has bought like XYZ loans or something like that.
Yeah,
So like the process that entailed before, that's kind of like where your realm
exactly.
is. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because before the announcement for divestiture, there's a lot of work that has
Right.
already been
Yeah.
done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And it's
Yeah.
probably like,
Yeah.
months, if not up to a year of like work
Yep.
before we can say, all right, we can now publicly announce this. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of moving around, moving pieces. But it's good
Yeah.
because, like I mentioned, you're working with legal, sales, finance. So it's really exposing me to a lot of really just understanding how a business works end to end.
Yeah.
And all the processes that, and all the different hands and things that go into to make one sale successful. So
Okay.
it's really interesting.
All right. So run with me on this one. What type of personality do you have, would you say?
Personality?
Mm-hmm.
And what, like a type A, type B type
Yeah.
thing?
Yep.
I think I'm an in between a type A and type B.
Okay.
If there's
Okay.
anything like that.
Gotcha.
I'm a planner, so
Yeah.
I like things to go a certain way, but at the same time, I'm also quite adaptable,
Okay.
right? So I'm adaptable. Like, so for example, moving to the UK, yes, I quit my job, but then I made sure I got a job before I moved.
Yeah.
It's I wouldn't just like quit a job and move and then figure
See
it
what
out.
happens.
So, yeah, I mean, I know
Yeah.
there are people who would do
Yeah,
that, right?
yeah.
But I my personality wouldn't allow me to just up and just go somewhere without having a plan. But then even leaving in and of itself, I think is also kind of the adventurous side. So yeah, so I think in between A and B, if there was ever such a thing.
Okay. So how does your personality, you think, if at all, helps with like the job you do now?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing is adaptability.
Okay.
Because when something new comes up, able to just like, and also with the kind of deals that we work with, sometimes like for divestiture, for example, the buyer can decide we don't want to buy it anymore, right?
Yeah.
And you've put in all this effort and all this time,
Yeah.
learning how to pivot, learning how to say, all right, we're gonna, either switch focus to something else, or if the buyer's asking for something unique that you haven't seen before, just
Yeah.
having that ability to adapt to whatever situation. I think that's how it helps. But then also being a program manager, like planning and just, I'm a very step-by-step kind of thinker. I think that really helps with, thinking, all right, I know the end goal. We want to get to the point where we're meeting whatever closing conditions or buying conditions.
Yep.
And I'm able to like just think about it step by step in that sense. So I think that's kind of how those two sides kind of come together.
Yeah.
To
No.
help. Yeah.
I think you're spot on, because I think for people who are like, oh, I'm not that technical, I don't know like XYZ, but it's like there's certain, I think, personalities and skill sets that are important in certain roles. I
Yeah.
think being able to kind of manage people and programs,
Exactly.
it takes certain skill sets. Like I can't deal with people that much. Like, I'm sorry, like I like people, but it's like in terms of like managing people,
Yeah.
like I have a very limited capacity there. But when it comes to like the technical, like that's where I excel. Like
Yeah.
you give me like whatever to do, I can get it done from a technical standpoint.
Right.
But from a management and kind of like administrative standpoint,
Yeah.
you got to have good skill sets there.
Yes,
And-
and I still kind of struggle with that, with the people piece, right? Because
Okay.
I mean, coming from as an accountant, yes, you still kind of have to deal with people when you're doing like presentations and stuff. But I run meetings right now where I'm the one who's leading the meetings and like I still
Yeah.
kind of struggle with
Yeah,
also even knowing how not to step in, because I think that's a skill, because
Yeah. Yep.
this thing needs to be done. They're not doing it.
Right.
Everyone's still pointing fingers.
Yeah.
I'm still learning to not be the person who be like, you know what, I'll do it. Like,
Right.
because as a program manager, you're not supposed to
Right.
like step in. But it's still a skill, like, because people are
Yeah.
very interesting.
Yeah. I think like he just brought on like the ability to like delegate. Like
Exactly.
and I think for others who are out there in the tech space or looking to get in the tech space, like if you have like these skill sets where you can manage people or you can manage like projects and stuff like that, you can probably translate those skill sets and transfer those to
Absolutely.
something in the tech space.
Oh,
And I
absolutely.
think you did that,
Yeah.
really well.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I think, yeah, for sure. And then even like pulling on my accounting, my PwC background as well.
Yeah.
Managing, so just knowing how to sort of see something end to end, right? And I think that's definitely transferable. Not necessarily having, of course, the technical knowledge is also really good, because with what I do, we call it like revenue separation, revenue integration. You need to know the background. You need to know how a revenue earns and whatnot, right?
Right.
But I think just that having that tenacity to be able to say, all right, taking ownership of this thing, this is like, I'm responsible. I know exactly what needs to be done, who you need to talk to, if you need to escalate, and just having that.
Yeah.
I think that can't really be. You don't need it, and I don't think they teach that. I'm not a technical tech person, but I don't know if they teach that. But yeah, to your point, yes, if you have those skills in whatever industry, it's definitely applicable.
Yeah. The pod right before this, we're talking about like critical thinking, you know, and the tech space. That's one thing, regardless of what sector you're in. Like it's important, like to be able to like think outside the box. Like if something goes wrong here, especially like big dollar items, like they're looking at you to figure out those solutions or figure out ways to, you know, remediate that very quickly. And I think that to me, I think it's not necessarily like, it's partly teachable, I think, but I think it's mostly like from experience. Like you have to be in those spaces where you're remediating things, and it doesn't necessarily have to be from super technical, just be in general. Like if your kid had some issues at school, how do you remediate those things? How do you step in? And I think oftentimes people aren't able to like pull from those experiences. Okay, this is translatable to XYZ.
And that's so true, because I mean, even for the longest time I was thinking about transitioning, because I really wanted to be a product manager. That's when I say I wanted to pivot to tech, that's what I wanted to do.
Okay.
Because like I said, my friends and I would talk about like products and like building stuff, right? And I really loved that space of like, you know, thinking of an idea and then thinking about how all the pieces work together and whatnot, right? And so speaking to one of my mentors, and he said the same thing. So he pivoted from accounting to product.
Nice.
And essentially the same thing. He didn't have to do like, I always roll my eyes when I see those like certifications and courses. I mean, everyone has their hustle. Like, it's good. It probably helps. But I think to your point, like there's so many things that you can definitely pull from that you're already doing that I think is just your ability to sell that to you know, whatever new role you're applying for.
Extremely important. Like your ability to sell yourself in an interview, it's like that to me, I think is what do you call it? This under highlighted like thing.
Yes.
A lot of people sometimes they're good at what they do, and they're good at, you know, they probably can learn and can grow in whatever areas, but if you can't explain that well and somebody can't buy that, you know, it's really tough to get hired. So
human nature, I guess. You have to tell them why they should pick you and like why they should want you.
Exactly. Okay, so CPA, do you do anything with that now?
I do. So like I mentioned, I've been filing my parents' taxes for years, but even then I also file taxes for some of my friends who have businesses, and I've done that for years.
Nice.
I don't do that on a large scale just because of, you know, timing and all the restrictions. But
gotcha.
But then I also do personal finance education. I've been doing this for a while, but I kind of start and stop because life happened, but I picked it up again. I've been doing that for a year now. And essentially really just trying to break down investing and personal finance knowledge and wealth building in a way that it's easier for people to understand. Because there aren't a lot of, especially not a lot of women and not a lot of immigrant women who, you know, talk about money. And I think sometimes, especially for finance people, like, we say these things, you know, we just say, and it's someone who's not a finance person, it might just sound like jargon, right? Like, what the hell are you talking about? So that's what I try to do, is just break it down in a way that's, at least I'm hoping, and I'm breaking it down in a way that's simple and easy for beginners to understand.
That's good. I think I could be overgeneralizing, but I think even in general, I think in the African culture, like talking about your finances is like almost a taboo. Like I think we're getting there where people are actually starting to talk about how do I manage my finances, even to the point like how much do you make, like things like that, where you know, other cultures like they talk about that, which I'm not saying we have to, but I think it helps us to be able to be a little bit more transparent, and then that helps us to get the help that we need.
Exactly.
Like if you don't know where you're at struggling financially, you're not going to ask for help,
exactly, yeah.
And I think what you're doing right there, it's extremely important that you're educating people about, especially our people,
Exactly.
about
Yeah, and especially
financial.
women too, because, and I think, I mean, you don't necessarily have to say how much you make, but
Right.
like, just talking about it and seeing, because sometimes, especially with social media,
Yeah.
you know, we can make assumptions
Yeah.
of people. We
Yep.
think, okay, this person just bought a G-Wagon, or bought this like really big house, but and you want to do the same, but you don't know, you don't need to know what they have in their pocket,
Yep.
but you don't know what they've, what they have or what they've gone through to be able to get that, right? You don't know what steps they've taken. You don't know whether they're financially irresponsible or responsible. And so
Yep.
I think that's one of the reasons I talk about it as well, is so that people can actually start to think about it themselves. Like,
Yep.
hey, am I actually, planning for retirement?
Yep.
Am I, hey, they just,
Right.
took this much taxes from my income. Is that okay? Like, should I have, got some more deductions or credits to help manage that, right? And I think, yeah, that's really the thing, is just like, if we don't talk about it enough, people will not look within to figure out whether or not they're actually doing well or doing better, or seeing how they can improve themselves as well.
Yeah, no, completely right. I think we have a culture of like chop life, Everybody wants to chop life, but
Everyone
it's
wants
like,
to chop life, and it's okay. Like,
Yeah.
I actually think, I believe in balance,
Yes,
right? I think,
exactly.
I'm a budget queen planner or whatever, but I have a travel budget, right? Enjoyment budget, right? So, and that's the thing. It's like, you can actually enjoy your life and like, and enjoy the money that you work hard for, but then also plan for retirement and also think about the future. Yeah, because there's nothing wrong with chopping life,
Right?
Just
But
life
if that's
with
the only
sense.
thing, with sense,
With sense.
right?
Apply sense
Yeah,
to it.
I think that to me is like where, from a tech standpoint, I think where we can really make waves. I think from a people talk about the whole generational wealth standpoint. If you can work with individuals who are not only doing well, but are doing well in a responsible manner, and saving, a good percent of that, and then you can divest some of that into like passive incomes, things like that.
Exactly.
That's I think that's the next level where I'm hoping this podcast kind of grows, where people are like, oh yeah, I want to work with so and so. Jennifer is doing this fantastic thing. She's a CPA. She's been doing this for years.
Yeah.
I would like to be able to put, let's say, $50,000 towards XYZ, so that I'm good.
Right.
5,
Exactly.
7, 10 years down the line.
And that's something that I personally don't invest for people. But then I actually want to show people that you can actually do it yourself.
Yeah.
And you can do it hands off as well. You don't need to go pay someone whatever to do something for you. That you can find an easy way to do it by yourself.
Okay.
But I also want to touch on being in tech and earning however much you earn. I feel like sometimes, and I actually had a little bit of that when I first got this job. I was like, biggest paycheck I've ever seen, right? But then really quickly, I'm like, all right, I'm not going to allow lifestyle creep to set in, because now you're making, 200K, 300K, whatever. And then you're increasing your lifestyle to match it. And then you realize that you're still living paycheck to paycheck.
Right.
And it's like, wait, where's my money going?
Right.
But it's things like that, right? It's just like, because it creeps up on you without
Very
even
quickly.
realizing.
Very quickly. Yep.
But then that's another thing is, the more I talk about it, I'm hoping that people can actually start to just pause and think, all right, should I increase? Do I need like a 2-bedroom apartment when it's just me?
Right. Yeah.
Or am I good with just a 1 bed?
Right.
And so but to your point, yes, being in tech and just being able to work together to see how we can use our skills to help improve our lives. Yeah.
Yeah. That's dope. So you talk about product manager, or product owner rather. Is that something you're still pursuing, or do you want to kind of?
I'm still open to it.
Okay.
But I really like what I'm doing right now.
Okay.
I actually plan to stay in the M&A space, but I'm still open to, exploring the product management role or skill or whatever. If there is a need for it, because I feel like with AI, I think, I don't know that product managers are going to go away, but I wonder what that's going to look like if, maybe software developers are gone. Then obviously the next progression is going to be that they're all going to be looking for product manager roles. Is it going to get saturated? I don't know, but I'm still open to it. It's just, I'm just thinking about more how what kind of roles I can use to sort of keep the knowledge and the skills that I have right now and maybe just like expand on that.
Gotcha.
But I guess if there's like a happy medium between like maybe a product manager and a fintech kind of,
Okay.
I'll be open to that. Yeah.
Okay. Speaking about AI, how do you use or do you use AI currently with like your role?
I do. Yeah.
Okay.
So in at our job, like they've been hammering on
Yeah.
AI.
Yeah.
I mean, because like, we have like one of the, like Copilot is like the thing, right? So
Yeah.
we have to use it. So I'm actually now the CI, call it CI, so like continuous improvement and AI lead for my team.
Nice.
So essentially like
Okay.
trying to find, yeah, but it's just
Okay.
like trying to find
Yeah.
ways to use AI to like make our job like more effective and just,
Gotcha.
reduce waste in terms of like time. But they've been really hammering it into us
Okay.
into like using it. But even in my personal life too, like I use ChatGPT for like almost everything at
Everything.
this
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Even crazy. So like
Yeah.
how we have like the image, you can create an image now.
Yeah.
So I'm going for a wedding and the dress code is like very specific.
Yeah.
So I took a picture of the dress that I'm thinking of.
I already know where you're going.
Yeah, and I was like, ChatGPT, just
Yeah.
put this together with like
Yeah.
gold shoes, because I wanted to just visualize it and
Yep.
see what
Yep.
that would look like. And I'm like, this thing is a game changer.
Yeah.
Like, anyone who's sleeping on AI right now
Yeah.
is really
I need to do the same thing for my fits. Like
right.
I struggle. I'm like, what should I wear? To
Yeah.
ChatGPT?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can just take a picture and it will tell you. Even
Yeah.
like, because I have plans and I love them, and one of them is acting somehow. So I just took a picture of it, and I was like, ChatGPT, what should I do with this, right?
Yeah.
But even for my finances as well, like
Yeah.
I use it to create a financial plan and all that stuff. So yeah.
Okay. All right. So you did bring up Copilot. Is there any sort of like push, like because you guys work with Copilot more? Is there like push towards using that? Is there any repercussions or restrictions to using the competitor?
Not right now, and I don't
Okay.
think so. OpenAI is not a competitor, right? Because I mean, I don't know if I should even speak about this. But there's a partnership. They've always had a partnership, right?
No, I didn't know that.
Okay, so OpenAI has always had a partnership with Microsoft.
Oh, okay,
Microsoft was
okay.
actually one of the earliest investors.
Yeah,
did,
well, I remember-
10
yeah,
billion,
yeah.
So the whole idea was
Yeah.
put 10 billion, and they've obviously increased it since then.
Yeah.
But is that we're going to build our model. I should probably not say that. I don't.
Okay.
I feel.
Okay.
But
What you can't say, don't
yeah,
say.
but it's just to say. I think it's public knowledge, but I just don't.
Yeah.
Anyway, but their model, so Copilot is actually built on the ChatGPT model,
Ah, okay,
so
okay.
that
Yeah.
ChatGPT will use Azure exclusively. So that's the
Gotcha.
partnership.
Okay. Okay.
So it's not, but I think right now I've been reading some things
Yeah.
that there's probably some tension right now.
Yeah,
with
that's
that
what I was thinking.
arrangement.
Okay. Okay.
But the original plan, because I actually worked with a team that handles a partnership with Copilot, so
Okay.
it's not an acquisition, but it's still kind of when there's a partnership like that, there's some revenue split that you have to calculate and manage and stuff internally. So as of now, they're not a competitor. They're actually more like brothers.
Okay.
But I think as the way things are going, they might end up just killing it because
Gotcha.
yeah, because the whole idea is, I mean, I use both. I like both.
Yeah.
But Copilot is the best. But I think it's just because like ChatGPT is just more. It's like easier to
Accessible,
access.
yeah.
Than Copilot. But
Yeah. Does Copilot have an app?
yes,
Okay.
it
Okay.
does.
Okay.
But I think you need to have like a Microsoft account and all that stuff. So
Gotcha,
because
gotcha.
they're trying to get you to
Okay.
to use their Microsoft suite and
Yeah.
whatnot.
Gotcha.
So,
Gotcha. Yeah, I've asked the same questions between the two different platforms to see what the answers are.
Okay.
It's interesting to see what I've gotten. But yeah, that's the reason I was asking because when you said they kind of or be built sort of like brothers and sisters, the information I get wasn't always like the same in terms of output.
Right.
I would say OpenAI's ChatGPT is like I've gotten a lot more robust answers to be honest. But
yeah, I'll agree.
Yeah.
Because it's built. I think it's built. I don't know. I mean, I'm not technical, but
Yeah.
I know that it's just built on the same like whatever background infrastructure or whatever. But of course, I think as you get like iterations, obviously ChatGPT
Like
would
mini and
definitely
all that
be
jazz.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, but but they're not competitors right now. At least as of now, we don't see them that way. They're just like partners.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, so next 5 years, where's Jennifer gonna be at?
That's a really tough question. Next 5 years. Let me think about that.
Okay.
I think the reason why I'm struggling to answer that is because I feel like I'm in a place where I'm almost at a crossroads. I'm trying to, and I feel like something major is going to happen that's going to help me decide either way.
Okay.
I don't know if you ever get to that place in your life where you're like, all right, something is not quite, not like it's not working, but it's just, okay, I've done this, this is great, but what's next?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I think it's really hard to plan ahead when you're still kind of trying to figure out like, trying to figure out, okay, if I do this, there's so many things. There's moving back to Nigeria is one of them, actually.
Gotcha.
There is, moving back to Nigeria and continuing to do this personal finance thing that I'm doing on a larger scale. Or there is taking this M&A and just continue building my skills and growing in that. And then there's completely pivoting to
a different sector.
Just something else. Yeah.
Are you on site right now?
We're 3 days a week. Yeah, it's a hybrid.
Okay. Is it an opportunity for you to work in Nigeria?
Not right now. Not with this current role.
Okay. Is there roles that would allow you to do that?
There might be, but I think right now there is a big push. So I don't think they're hiring any remote roles, at least at Microsoft. I don't know about.
Okay.
But I know there's a big push right now to bring people back to Redmond for whatever reason.
And you want to do 100%? Let me not say 100%. You want to relocate 100% to Nigeria, or you want to do like a transition?
It will depend. Okay. But if I find something like a great opportunity, not like a job, obviously, but like if I find myself doing something that would need me to be there full time, then I'll definitely.
That's nice. That's nice. Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, there's just so many things, and I might be going to Nigeria this year, just to talk to a few people. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's something that that might happen, and then that would help me just have a better, like, a clearer picture of what the next 5 years will look like.
But when are you going again?
September.
All right, this pod will be released after, so you should be good. It's the case.
Oh, okay.
They watch it, like,
oh yeah.
Are you leaving us, Jennifer?
Please.
Yeah, this will release after. Okay. All right. So, in terms of like, you brought up like, you do personal financing for like family, friends, and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I wanted to question something about that. Why don't you scale that as a business?
You mean taxes?
Yeah, taxes. If there's other like things you do outside.
So the tax one, just because being a CPA, there's just a few, I just don't want to take on the the liability fully of scaling the taxes portion. But as far as personal finance, like investing and whatnot, I'm open to doing that. In fact, the reason I started talking more about it is so that I can,
build something,
build something out of it. Okay. But even if right now it's still friends and I still feel bad because I'm like, I don't want to charge. I feel bad charging people to help them learn how to
do their own.
Or make more money. It's like,
I get what you're saying, but I think, you're adding value. And I think anyone that values like your time, they'll pay for that, because more than likely they're going to pay somebody else, like financial advisors and stuff like that. Yeah, they're, but to me, if your friend is giving you game and they have your best interest at heart for sure, like pay the price up.
I can see that, because I actually helped a friend recently to, like, she's been working for years. She just has like cash savings.
Gotcha.
Never invested in a day in her life. So we literally sat down for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
Helped her create an account. helped her like, just learn about it and then pick like her first stock and
Yeah.
stuff. So that's actually what I really want to do more of.
Gotcha.
Really just like doing one-on-one coaching and helping people, really new people or beginners into like investing and wealth building.
Gotcha.
To just take, because I think once you take that first step, once you buy your first stock,
Yep.
you're gonna naturally just want to learn more, and just at least I'm hoping, I think that most people, it's just taking that
Yeah.
first step that holds them back. But
Yeah.
but that's essentially that's what I want to be doing. Just one-on-one coaching and just helping people get set up and get started from scratch.
Okay.
So eventually, I guess, however that scales, like, I'm open to scaling that part of it, but not necessarily the taxes.
Okay. And you brought up stocks. It's like, what other securities, I guess, do you work with, or do you help people to look at?
It's mostly just stocks,
Just stocks,
right
okay.
now. Yeah. Of course, real estate. Anyone can know what real estate is. I don't really like to talk about crypto because I invest in crypto, but then I feel like it's just too risky to say, hey, I advise this person to buy it. But right now it's just mostly stocks.
Okay.
Stock market. Yeah.
Okay.
Mostly ETFs even.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I was wondering if you do options or
Oh, I do. Personally, I do
Yeah.
trade options, but
Okay.
again, I don't want to, because it's super risky. Even, I
Yep.
mean, I think even the most experienced options traders still
Yeah.
find themselves making
Yep.
mistakes, right? So,
Yeah. The last part I was talking about it, where I made, I think 72K in like 3 weeks, and I lost 100K in like.
There you go.
I was like, Jesus.
Yeah, and I think that's a funny thing. Like, so I'm in a Discord, right? I finally found a good options guy.
Nice.
Because he's very transparent.
Yeah.
Because I find that a lot of options traders, they'll only show you the
The
gains.
wins. Yeah, the wins.
But they will
yeah.
show you like, oh yeah, they made 30,000, but then they lost 50.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
But this guy, like, he shows you everything,
Yeah.
and he's very transparent about like the mindset, right? Versus just
Yep.
looking for wins, right?
Yep.
Because sometimes we get greedy. Like I was,
The psychology. That's
right.
yeah,
You
yeah.
hold because you think, oh, it's
Yep.
it's up 300%,
Yep.
but you think it's gonna get to 1,000.
That's what got me.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm 12K. I'm like, I gotta get 20, and it's like, all right, now you're down 1,000. I'm like, oh my god.
And then even when you're down, like say you go from 300 to like 100,
Yeah.
you think, oh, it's gonna go back up, but
Yeah.
then it just keeps
Keep
falling.
going down. Yep.
So it's a mindset, like knowing when to cut your losses so
Right.
that it doesn't go to zero, and then
Right.
also just knowing when to be happy with your gains.
Yeah. Those stop losses like definitely are critical.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So if anybody wanted to get in touch with Jennifer to figure out like how to be better with their personal finances, things like that, how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah. So I have a page on Instagram. It's called Inside Your Finance. And then there's also my personal page on Instagram as well, as Jen Ike. Or you can also reach out at insideyourfinance@gmail.com.
Okay. Awesome. Well, Jennifer, thank you so much. We're also going to have a whiteboard session, which Jennifer is going to explain some things from I'm not even quite sure yet what our topic is going to be.
I don't know.
But definitely check that out. And if you have any questions, whether it's Jennifer's handle or if you have any questions in general around accounting, finances, tech, hit us up at africansintechnology@gmail.com. Again, it's africansintechnology@gmail.com. My name is Sar Leby. This is Africans in Tech. We're building bridges and shaping futures in tech. All right, fam.